This episode was made possible by the fine folks at
Washington State's Caviar Gold. My name is Bigfoot. Episode 13.
Welcome back, Rangers, to another episode of My Name is Bigfoot. And you are, sir?
Paul Vegors.
And what is the name of your band?
Space Wizard Bagpipes.
Space Wizard Bagpipes. And how did you come up with that wonderful name?
So actually the name Space Wizard is a nickname that my girlfriend gave me just about 6 months back. She made me this dress out of this bed sheet that has stars and planets and nebula on it, so it looks like outer space, right? And she put it on me and she said, "You look like Space Wizard or something." And the name kind of stuck. It felt like it was me. And just recently I started doing some fairly unusual things with my bagpipes, which is of course the instrument I play. I electrified them and I started running them through a delay pedal, which gives this trippy sort of outer space sound. And somehow all these things sort of fit together. So the name I started going by when I'm performing, my stage name is Space Wizard.
What made you pick bagpipes out of all the musical instruments out there in the world?
There's a festival up here in Seattle on Memorial Day weekend called the Northwest Folklife Festival. And when I was 9 years old, I saw this long-haired, tall, maybe like 6'1" bagpipe, and he was playing traditional Scottish tunes, and he was doing something a little bit different with them. He had this rock drummer, and he was playing with this like driving 4/4 rhythm, and he was bending these melodies to fit this rhythm. He called it shamrock and roll. It's traditional. It's like rock and roll, traditional music. Right. It had a new drive, a new rhythm to it, and I saw this, and I pulled on my mom's sleeve to go over and watch him, and I didn't have to pull very hard. She wanted to go see him too. So we went over, and I saw his set. I saw him performing, and it was magical. It had such an energy and a drive to it. And I remember at the end of his set, he pulled a little kid out of the audience, maybe like 12 or 13, and he said, this kid's been taking lessons for the past 6 months, and I swear, the kid's a wizard. And he flipped his chanter around, which is the melody pipe you actually play with your fingers, and this kid played on his chanter, and then he went off into the audience, and he played one more tune with this drummer, and then he finished his set, and I came up and asked him, will you teach me to play the bagpipes? He said, absolutely, yeah, I will. And he handed me his business card. I lost it. And I didn't see him for years and years and years. But several years later, after that thought had kind of gone over my head, that ship had sailed, my cousin Katrina told me that there's this pipe band up in Shoreline called the Northwest Junior Pipe Band. And so I showed up, and I got sucked in. Like, I got a practice chanter, and I was inseparable with that thing. I remember someone asking me, how much do you practice? And my sister was right next to me. She said, like 6 hours a day. I can't handle it.
But I mean, but your music's beautiful, man. You do long ass sets, and it is very trancy? I don't know. It's
transcendental.
Transcendental.
That's not. Maybe that's a thing. Trance-like.
I don't know. It's very chill music. I mean, for it being bagpipes, which for everything that might be negative about banjos and bagpipes, and it was actually really, really chill music. I mean, which is why I'm so honored that you're taking some time out so I can talk to you. Now, do you go on tour? I mean, like, where do you normally perform at? Because I got lucky at Hempfest and I saw you.
I tend to frequent the corner of First and Pike and Westlake Center, and by the QFC on Broadway and Pike and Capitol Hill. I tend to play there a lot too. And so I pop around in a lot of different places in Seattle. I play at most of the festivals, and I haven't taken my act on tour yet because I feel like right now I'm really developing this new sound, and I'm learning how to work with the electronics of it, and I'm still refining it, I feel. I definitely have full intentions this coming summer, after I've had a lot of time this winter to really work out the finer end of my equipment and work out the finer end of my musicality and have like, sets that are solid. Once all those things are, ironed out, I really intend to take it on tour this coming summer.
Now, have you made any albums, or it's in the process of that, or?
Absolutely, it is in the process of it. Did I mention just earlier the long-haired bagpiper who I didn't see for years? When I was 16 years old, after I'd been playing for a couple years, I ran into him, and he asked me if I wanted to play in his band.
Okay.
And I did that for many, many years until I was 19. And we played at Folklife every year, and we actually did record a couple albums together. And the name of that project is called Nay Regrets.
Nay Regrets. Oh, like no regrets.
Yeah.
I got that.
But it's kind of got like a Scottish twist on the name.
Is that where you started dabbling with the pickups?
Oh, I actually just started dabbling with the pickups 3 months ago. Actually, it was the beginning of April this year.
That is such an addicting hook. Like, I mean, I really like what you did. Like, I've never seen it done before. It's new. I like it. So, how long does it take for you to go ahead and come about creating a song that you create lyrically?
Well, it's an incredibly long process, actually. It's not the sort of thing that happens in a day or a week. It really is something that pieces together, many ideas that occur over the course of months.
Okay.
Probably one of my favorite pieces that I like to play with my electric setup is something I call Walking Through the Spirit World. And that's something that I started hearing in my head when I was 17. It's been quite a while. It's been 7 years since that point. This year and last year was the time when those melodies really started to click, and they're free time, which means that there's not like a really set meter. You can't play this next to a metronome. It doesn't line up with a traditional drum beat, but there's a rhythmic sense to it that really, really started to gel and make sense and be powerful last year. But I guess that's an example. It really takes a long time, I feel, for something that has genuine power to come out of my mind.
For a person entering the industry, what advice would you give them?
Well, this is actually something I've given a great deal of thought, particularly over the course of the last couple weeks, because I feel like now that the fruits of my labor are starting to show promise, now that I'm doing this interesting stuff with the electronics, I think a lot of people who wrote me off in the past as a musician are starting to see that there's actually some value, there's some merit in what I'm doing. And the thing is that I had to have confidence in myself before anyone else did. I had to know that I was going to do something. Before I even knew what it was, before I knew how it was going to sound, I had to know that I was working towards something that was meaningful. And I had to know that because all throughout that, people were telling me that I was going to grow up and be destitute, that I was going to be alone, that I was never going to make any progress as a musician, that it wasn't going anywhere. And I think every musician is going to hear those words spoken to them, and they sting, they hurt. But if you're the kind of person that really genuinely has what it takes to do it, you can't let any of those people tell you that you're not going to do it.
That was actually really fucking deep, though. I mean, I like that.
Actually, there's something that just popped into my head I'd like to elaborate on a little bit. Something I heard many years ago that was another musician sort of answering this question. It was the lead singer of the Turtles, which is a rock band from many, many years back.
I remember that.
I can't remember what his name is.
Okay.
I just remember that he was the lead singer for the Turtles. And he said, if you really want to be a musician, if that's what you want to do, you have to ignore the advice of your parents and your teachers and your priest and a lot of your friends when they tell you that you need to have a fallback. because being a musician is going to be really, really hard. If you have something to fall back on, a career of some sort, if you haven't totally dedicated yourself to being an artist, you're going to give up. You're going to fall back unless you're fully committed.
Well, thank you so much, man. Like, honestly, can't wait to see your stuff. It's amazing. Again, if you get a chance, where can they find you online?
I have a very minimal internet presence. Right now I have my Instagram called Space Wizard Bagpipes, and I'm going to be progressing from that once I have like a full album recorded. I'm going to have this on the internet, but right there on Space Wizard Bagpipes, I'm going to sort of keep everyone informed. That's going to be the singular place right now where you can expect.
So on Instagram?
Yeah, on Instagram.
Space Wizard Bagpipes?
Yeah.
On Instagram. All right. Thank you so much again. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Bigfoot.
All right.
Whew.
Remember, Bigfoot believes in you.